Alright guys, this is going to be the start of a new series. This is going to be a build series we got going. I'm going to be building the 500L Dom for this series. We'll be coming out with a build series shortly on a Synergy. It's either going to be a 516 or a 556. Haven't decided which it's going to be yet. Moving into this now, we're going to start with the head. I've already unboxed everything to save time. You guys aren't going to want to watch me unbox a million parts. Go ahead and pull the manual out. What we're going to do, this is for the frame. We're going to swing it back over. Go back into basic head here. If you don't have a manual, if you got a used bird and you don't have a manual or something like that, download the manual. Follow the manual specs. I've already kind of messed with this just to save some time. So I'm really only going to be working on like one side. So on the blade grips, I'm going to do one side of the blade grip and then just copy the same thing for the other side just to cut down on the time of the video. That way we're not doing a 40-minute video here for something that should not take very long. So that's actually not going to work. Go like this. Alright, so this is going to be pretty simple. Go ahead and get started. Usually, they'll either come completely assembled, the head, or completely unassembled, and you got to put it together. So what I'm going to show you here is if it's assembled, go ahead and pull everything off of the head. So you're going to pull off the control arms. Put those off to the side. Now be careful because these control arms have a washer on them. And you do not want to lose that washer. Let's see here. There we go. See? Thought I lost one. It was just stuck on the bearing and blended in. We're going to toss these off to the side for now. Okay? Next thing you're going to want to do is pull out these blade grips, blade grip bolts. Sorry about that. Okay, what you're going to do, grab two identical Allen heads, stick it inside the blade grip, grab that feathering shaft bolt on both sides, break it loose. As you can tell, from the factory, it's not going to be that difficult to get those out because they're not Loctited. I've already kind of messed with this head off camera, so that's why it seemed like it was a little difficult. So like I said, we're going to do one side at a time and just pretty much just replicate exactly what I'm doing here to the other side. Super simple. Pull this off. So, something to keep in mind here when you are messing with these thrust washers is there's going to be an inner and an outer. One's going to be wider. One's going to be narrower inside diameter. The larger diameter is going to go closer to the center of the head, and the smaller diameter is going to go on the outer side of the head. So what you do is just pull these apart. I like Tri-Flow clear synthetic grease. You can use grease that comes with the pack. It doesn't really matter. I'm not promoting any brands. I don't get paid for that or anything like that, obviously. It's just, this is what I like. So I use Tri-Flow. You just put a little bit on your hand. Don't need much. Just kind of rub it around in your hand there. And then on the... You're going to see there's two different faces on this bearing. The side that has the bearings exposed is going to go towards the head. The inside of the blade grip. The part that actually looks like a traditional bearing is going to go closer to the edge of the blade grip. Put these on here. Put them together, kind of give them a twist in your hand, move the grease around. Make sure there's no notchiness. You don't have a bad bearing out of the box. It is possible. What we're going to do is set that aside. Pull this off. I need to grab a towel to wipe my hands off with. So since I've already Loctited this, a good practice is to just take like a brush of some kind, of brass brush, steel brush, and just kind of knock all that excess Loctite off. If you're not in a rush, you can drop them in alcohol. It works great. Let them sit for a couple minutes and pull it right off. So, another trick, you're going to need to pick up one of these. Feathering shaft tool. This is going to allow you, once you pull one side off, you're going to put it on. You just got to find the right direction. And you're going to... See how it's spinning? It's a one-way bearing, so this is turned the wrong way. So I just want to make sure this is still tight since I Loctited this side. Still nice and tight. Loctite hasn't been freed. So that's good. We're good. That side's already been greased. So, super simple. What you're going to do, take some Tri-Flow, or the grease of your choice. Tiny little bit on there. It's a little bit much. It's fine. Rub it around. I will be posting a video at the end of this, or maybe a separate video of how you can pop these bearings out and grease them and service them. Usually right out of the factory, they're greased pretty decently, so you don't have to. A lot of people don't. I like to. So I have this. It's called the Gadget Bearing Greaser. So put your bearing in there. You can clean it out. You can spray it. You can pull this plunger off. Stick your aerosol can of like Nitro Force or your preferred bearing cleaner sprayed in there. Blow out all the debris. Put in your fresh grease. Pack. Done. Pop it back in place. Good to go. Just serviced your bearing. So what we're going to do is, now that we grease this, I'm going to slide this back on. And make sure you have the outer race on the outer side and the inner bearing on the inner side. Now when you're doing something like this, when it comes to Loctite, very minimal amount, especially in a situation like this, when it's going to be going through multiple bearings. The last thing you want to do is put too much Loctite on there. Because if you have excess Loctite, what's going to happen is the excess Loctite is going to push out, and the only place it has left to go when you push it out is one of the three bearings that you got here. You got the inner bearing, the outer bearing, and your thrust washer, or your thrust bearings. One of those is going to get Loctite on it. It's not good. You don't want that. You just Loctite your bearing. And then do not over torque these. They do not need to be, you do not need to hammer on them. So just nice and snug, and then a little twist. Good to go. Once the Loctite sets up, you're golden. And then, you know, just go through, make sure everything's good. I'm going to only pull off one side because, like I said, everything's already been done on this. Already kind of worked on it and decided last minute I'm going to do a build video on this bird. I'm going to pull these knuckles off. Okay. As you can see, there's that white powder right there. That's that white debris. That is the Loctite that is dried. Another trick, if you don't know it, don't ever use Loctite on anything going into plastic, okay? It's not good. You will melt the plastic. And I cannot find my smaller, I don't know where that went. I'm gonna have to go find it. My smaller diameter Allen key I use to push these out when they get stuck. So we're gonna just go ahead and brush these off real quick. Knock off all that Loctite. Drop it back in. Okay. Another one real quick. Tiny bit. Don't go overboard on the Loctite. You don't need a lot. Screw it in. Now, all these heads and most of the parts on these newer helicopters are all aluminum. So, can't stress enough to not go He-Man on it, because it will strip out. And then that's not fun. So that side's done. And you're literally going to do the same exact thing to this side. Now when everything's all nice and done, it should be buttery smooth. You know, it should fall under its own weight. Should be no grittiness on either side. And this is the most important part. You should be able to grab this head and pull these back and forth, and there should be no play. You shouldn't be able to grab the blade grips, and the blade grips should not move at all. If they do, check your manual. See if they included a set of shims. If they did, go ahead and toss a shim on both sides or just on one side depending on how much you need. And then go from there. If you don't have any shims, just go ahead and continue the build. Write down on a sticky note, order shims, go to your hobby shop of choice, order the shims you need, put it on before you do your maiden. The next part is, we're going to take these guys, mixing levers. Take the screw out, be very careful of that washer. Now this is Tri-Flow again. This is more of a viscous lube, so it makes it easier to service and get grease in these tiny bearings. Would help if I can actually get it. Get it in there here. Open that up a little bit. Okay. So what I do is take a tiny bit here, drop a lube, kind of spin it in your hand, work it back and forth, take your rag, wipe it down. Now, same thing on this. I can find a smaller one here. What happened to it, so I'm just going to go ahead and build this other one up real quick. 1 second. Okay. out. Pull it out. Same thing. Take a drop of your lube here. A little bit on the inside, outside, a little bit drop on the inside. And do that on both sides. Then you go ahead, put these back on. If you put too much Loctite on your screws, no big deal. Just give it a quick little twist there on your rag. Screw it back in. Take it up. Both sides. Nice twist. And when it's done, it should be nice and smooth. No grittiness. Shouldn't be grabbing, no binding. And then wipe it down. Get all that excess grease off of there. What you're gonna do, go ahead. Drop. Screw it back on. Now, don't torque these down too much right now. What you're going to do, this side's already done. Redid this side, so a little bit of Loctite. Go like this. Slide it in. Screw it in. This has already been greased, but I'm going to re-grease it real quick. Next step, you're going to take your Allen head, You're going to pull these balls off one at a time. Unscrew them. Drop a Loctite, screw them in, work your way all the way around. And once you're done with that, twist this thing to the side. Oop, that was way too much. Put a drop in there. Work your way around. Spin it around in there. Same thing on the back. Then just wipe off all the excess. Give it a quick little wipe down. Take your feathering, or I'm sorry, take your main shaft. Slide this on. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Nice and buttery, no resistance. Take your main shaft. You slap that in there. Put your Jesus bolt in. Should slide right in. Just slide that bolt in. And then on the opposite side, you're going to notice there's going to be notches engraved into the head. And that's going to catch the bolt. It's going to pull it into place and hold it there. And it's going to suck in. Now this bolt, you do not use Loctite on because it has a nylon lock washer. If you Loctite this, it's going to eat that nylon. So you're just going to turn it, and then it's going to catch, and it's going to start sucking in. And you just turn it until it gets tight, and then stop. Now that you got that in, now that you got those on, put that Loctite on, you're going to go ahead and cinch those down. Twist, don't over tighten them. And then these should be nice and smooth. Like that one. That one's a little tight. Over tightened it. Sorry, just adjusting a few things here. These mixing arms got switched around. Tighten it down. So it should be nice and buttery smooth. So see how this one isn't buttery smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this side off and see why. So I over tighten the bolt, no big deal. So nice and smooth, what you want. No play, I can't grab this and pull it forward and back. No play in this, this is nice and buttery smooth. We're good. So we've Loctited everything, greased everything. What you're going to do now, the next step it shows you in the manual, you're going to pull out your control linkages. These come unassembled. I assembled them just to kind of show you guys what they're going to look like when they're done. The cool thing about Align is they give you 3 different measurements here. The length of the actual rod itself should be 24 millimeters. Or I'm sorry, 26. The length between the end and the end, the inside and inside, should be 24. Or if you have the ball link adapter for your digital calipers, you just slide them on, and then you can use the outside measurement, which is approximately 53. So, you can see here, you just screw these on. So, if it's right on the 500L, there should be no thread showing on either side, and that's going to get you right at 24. So once you get that, you're going to take these and you're going to grab, if you don't have one of these, this is another great tool. It's cheap, it's like 12 bucks. Invest in this. This is a sizer. You're going to reach in here, you're going to find the right size. The right size should just click right in. Okay? Should click right in. And then you're going to spin it and rotate it in all different directions. And that's going to take off any excess material. And what that's going to allow is for it to be nice and smooth. It's not gritty, it's not going to grab, it's not going to hang. And that's going to allow for a smooth head, which gives you the ability to do very precise and small inputs into the radio, and you're gonna get it out of it. If it's gritty and it's not right, you know, you barely move it, and instead of it going nice and smooth, with a small input, it might be like jerky instead of buttery smooth. So the smallest increment, it's butter. Then you just go ahead and pop these on. Pop these on. Pop these on. They should be nice and smooth. They should not come off. You should have to use a ball link plier to get them off. Put both sides on. Pop it on. Nice and smooth. And I mean, this head should just be butter. It should be perfect. No play. Nothing's moving each way. So it should be tight but smooth. The bolts should be as, you know, they should go till they stop but still be nice and smooth. It should just fall under its own weight. Super simple. And then when I'm done, so I don't lose them, I have to take these, put these on so you don't lose them. Now what I do is I just barely start the threads. You can see it rattles around. Do not tighten these down with the blade not in the grip. You will bend these. Don't want to do that. So So there we go. Again, just a quick recap. Some useful tools. You don't need them. You can get away without them. This is a Bodo sizer. It's a Synergy. It comes with multiple different ball link sizes for whatever size bird you're working on. So you're going to go ahead and find the appropriate size and stick it in the ball, twirl it around. Other things I used was I used my own Loctite. If you don't have it, don't worry. Most kits come with it. Bearing greaser, Tri-Flow clear synthetic grease, Tri-Flow superior lubricant with a needle applicator, Allen keys, feather and shaft tool. So that's part one. Head's assembled for now. There's going to be some more things we're going to work on later once we get the frame and, get the frame built, which will be part two, and we get ready to toss the head into place. We're going to throw the head shims in there and find which one works best. They give you two different ones. So you're going to find out which one you need to make sure that when this is sitting in the frame and you got it all tightened down, that there's no play. You shouldn't be able to grab the head and pull up and down on it. It should be tight and not move. So there we go. That concludes part one of the 500L Dom build series. This is the head. Stay tuned. Part two is going to be the frame. Again, thank you guys for watching. Any comments, just go ahead and leave them down below. If you saw anything I didn't do right or something that you thought I didn't do right, you have any questions, feel free to comment. Do my best to respond as quickly as possible. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.